AI data centers finally found a resource they can't simply buy: permission from the people living nearby. Only 14% of Americans support a new data center in their area. 61% oppose one. And now governors who spent years welcoming the industry are starting to slam on the brakes. I expose the hidden cost of big tech every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Because this backlash is no longer just a zoning fight. It is changing state policy. Start in Pennsylvania. Governor Josh Shapiro just removed AI data centers from the state's fast-track permitting program. His executive order says data center proposals must meet legally enforceable standards covering electricity costs, water, environmental protection, transparency, local jobs, and community benefits. The sharpest part is not just the environmental language, it is the attack on secrecy. Non-disclosure agreements for data center projects are no longer permissible for agencies under the governor's authority. Developers are expected to disclose who is behind a project, how much power and water it will use, and how it plans to pay for the infrastructure it needs. And Pennsylvania added a political tripwire. Required local approvals come before the state issues the permits. Shapiro put it plainly: if the local community does not approve a project, the state will not approve it either. That does not ban data centers. A developer that meets the rules can still build. But it reverses the old order of operations. The community is no longer supposed to discover the real power, water, and tax deal after the public incentives and permit momentum are already in place. Now move more than 1,000 miles south, where the politics look different but the pressure sounds familiar. Last November, Texas Governor Greg Abbott called his state the epicenter of AI development while celebrating Google's $40 billion investment. This month, Abbott ordered regulators to audit every data center moving through ERCOT's grid interconnection process before those projects can advance. The state wants details about tax incentives, ownership, electricity demand, on-site generation, water sources, cooling systems, and community impacts. Texas says the queue contains more than 474 gigawatts of requested connections, and about 90% of the new requests are from data centers. Important, that is requested capacity, and not power those facilities are already using, and not proof that every project will ever be built. But the queue is so large that Texas says it cannot safely treat every request as real without checking. Then Abbott went further. He said developers failed to work with state and local communities, had dug their own grave, and got the backlash they deserved. That is a remarkable sentence from a governor who was selling Texas as the center of the AI boom less than a year ago. New York has gone further on time. Governor Kathy Hochul ordered an up to 1 year pause on certain state environmental permits for new hyperscale data centers, while the state writes a broader environmental framework. The pause applies to discretionary permits that were not already deemed complete. So this is not a total ban on every project, but it is a statewide admission that the old rulebook was not built for facilities of this scale. The state says the new framework must answer a basic question: how do you attract investment without making ordinary customers pay for the transmission, generation, and environmental costs? Pennsylvania is asking it, New York is asking it, Texas is asking it. Ratepayer protection has become bipartisan because the bill arrives before the politics do. And the public numbers explain why governors are moving now. In an Annenberg survey completed in July, opposition to a new local data center jumped from 49% in the spring to 61%. Support fell to just 14%. The opposition crossed party lines. 69% of Democrats, 54% of Republicans, and 53% of independents said no. For years, the AI infrastructure race was described as a hunt for chips, capital, land, electricity, and water. But the build-out kept smashing through those resource gates until it hit a wall it cannot engineer away: local permission. There is a reason the Pennsylvania NDA ban matters so much. When power demand, water use, tax breaks, and even the future tenant are hidden behind confidential negotiations, residents are asked to approve a promise instead of a project. Disclosure changes the fight. It lets a town compare permanent jobs with tax exemptions, new infrastructure with household bills, and company water promises with actual peak demand. But there is also a political reality here. These governors have not rejected the AI economy. Pennsylvania still offers a path for compliant projects. Texas is auditing the queue, not declaring every application dead. New York's pause is temporary. The new message is not no data centers, it is no blank check. So who should get the final say? The governor, the grid operator, or the people who live next door? Put one in the comments and tell me why. Because a project can affect an entire regional grid and watershed, even when only one town gets the formal vote. Here is the truth bomb. The next hard limit on AI may not be a chip shortage or a power shortage. It may be a trust shortage. If you want the receipts behind AI's power, water, land, and household costs, subscribe. There's a new investigation every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Then watch my investigation into Dominion's $6.2 billion AI grid bill. Why Virginia is making big tech pay. Because Virginia shows what happens when a state turns this backlash into an actual ratepayer rule. AI companies can buy land, they can build power plants, they can negotiate tax breaks. What they cannot safely assume anymore is that the people next door will say yes.